away for merchandise.
A night that started off with smiles and excitement quickly took a terrifying turn.
We were right by the stairs, and the stairs were flooded completely.
They were among the hundreds who got caught in the middle of this brutal storm.
There was hail everywhere.
Forced to take cover under a tree.
We were like hunched down because there was like nowhere to go, and like the hail started pelting us in the back, like head and everywhere. Like put my hand up to cover my head and got slammed in the hand, my fingers like totally swollen.
The venue did issue warnings for weather, but the hailstorm moved in so quickly it caught people off guard.
There was ambulances coming and tow trucks, like cars were getting stuck, and I mean, there were like some of the cars in the parking lots have their windows busted out. People were screaming and crying. People kept getting separated from each other.
In the chaos, her youngest got separated.
And there was this other little girl right next to me, and I kept yelling, Sienna, that's my daughter's name. I'm like, where is she? Where is she? And the little girl just happened to be named Sienna, and she was like, I'm Sienna. Yeah. And so I grabbed her hand.
Eventually, Yanashanis was able to reunite the girl with her group and found her own daughter.
One of the moms just like brought her inside and protected her. She was totally fine.
Yanashanis, on the other hand,
hail puts dents in cars. Like imagine what it does to your head.
Is covered with welts and bruises.
If you can imagine like getting hit by a golf ball, right? Like the pain. Having it happen.
Coverage of the severe storms sweeping across the Denver metro area tonight. This is Red Rocks, where West Metro firefighters are working with medic personnel out there at the venue to treat a number of people injured after a severe hailstorm swept over the concert.
This is the Louis Tomlinson concert, One Direction fame, and folks really were trying their best to get somewhere safely. There's really nowhere to go out there when something like this rolls in. Red Rocks just officially postponed the concert about 2 minutes ago, but there's a lot of people that are talking about injuries, being bumps on the head, etc. We want to get out to Jenny Meckles, who saw the stream of traffic exiting that concert.
Yeah, it was a long line of cars, Kim. And truthfully, the parking lots are a little bit chaotic now, more so than your usual post-concert chaos in the parking lot. Pierce was at the concert tonight, or at least tried to be at the concert tonight. And you, like everybody else, are walking with a lot of welts on your body. Tell me about your hand.
I think like it messed up my knuckle right here. I'm not sure. I didn't fall on my hand or anything. That's definitely from hail. Yeah.
Where were you guys in the venue? And when the hail came, what did you do?
We were kind of on like the south side, and then we ran out, and then we just started running in a direction. We kind of got lost, but
was there anywhere to go to try to get shelter? Like what?
Absolutely not. Everything was taken. People weren't letting each other into their cars and stuff. So yeah.
And also, folks on TV right now, you can't see the hail on the ground, but truthfully, the ground is also covered, and there's steps trying to get out of this venue. Like, what was the hail like on the ground trying to get out?
It was awful. Yeah. It really sucked, but yeah.
Yeah. And then we've heard some people, we don't know the level of injuries yet. A lot of folks are walking around with little bruises like you, but was there stuff you could see up there that looked worse?
I saw a girl with like her head bleeding on the way down, but yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
We're still waiting to try to get kind of like more clarity on what that actually looks like. But I've talked to, I don't know, what do you say? We've met a dozen people in the parking lot around your car alone. Everyone's walking away with bruises tonight.
All praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai. Bahasham Ha-Rakah Kodash, double honors unto our apostle elders, which rule Great Millstone well, and Shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom wa abab abal. Alright, so as you just heard through the news, the hailstorm that hit Colorado and hit this concert in Red Rocks, kicking some ass, It says in Ecclesiasticus 39 verse 28, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes in the time of destruction. They pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. So who's bringing that vengeance? Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, the God of the Israelites, and the Savior, his son, Yahushai, which is going to return and deliver his people from the oppressor. The oppressor is the so-called white man, the red devil, the wicked that rule the world, and that's why the world is in a wicked state. The Israelites, his people, the power, the God of the world, the God of the Bible, Yahweh, the God of the Israelites, right? The Israelites are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, which have been scattered throughout the world as slavery. And he kills and he makes alive. He wounds and he heals. What is that in? Let's get that. In, I believe it's Deuteronomy 32. The Spirit told me 32. See, verse 9. For Yahweh's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. But just like the Egyptians, the so-called white men don't want to let us go, right? They want to put us in a new form of captivity, the implantable microchip for buying and selling, which the Lord is not going to allow it. It says, well, 2/3, they're going to go with it, but they're going to be destroyed with it. But the elect, he's not going to allow them to take us into a new form of captivity. See? Verse 36, Deuteronomy 32, verse 36. For Yahweh shall judge his people and repent himself for his servants. Right? So he's turning that judgment off of us and putting it now on our enemies. When he seeth that their power is gone, and there is none shut up or left, and he shall say, where are their gods, the rock in whom they trusted? Right? So he's going to cause them and their idols to be destroyed, the wicked and them that do wickedly. It says, verse 38, which did eat the fat of their sacrifices and drank the wine of their drink offerings. Let them rise up and help you and your protection. See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me, because he's the only true power. Even Yahushai, his power is the power of his father, Yahweh. It says, I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. So who wounded those Edomites? Yahweh did. Through his son Yahushai did the orders go, and he sent it down to the angels. And that's why they were saying there was like a humongous sow cloud, which that was a chariot. And the chariot shot down hail upon their head, smacking them in the head. For who? For the Israelites' sake. Because this earth was made for us. And we're about to get power. So just like in Egypt, guess what? There was hail. And the Lord said that he was going to destroy Egypt with plagues like he did before. And what is the modern day Egypt, spiritual Egypt? America. And that's self-proclaimed. Look at their dollar. Look at the obelisks that are in every of their government buildings. In every one of them, they have Egyptian architecture, which pertains to idol worship. All right? So the 2/3 that trust in this so-called white man and his idols, you're going to perish with them. But unto the elect, we're going to be all right, because the Lord is the one that kills and makes alive. He wounds and he heals. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand, whether to be saved. Like no one could lose their salvation that are of the elect, and no one could actually take the judgment off of Esau. There's no changing sides. All right. It says, for I lift up my hand to heaven and say, I live forever. If I whet my glittering sword and mine hand took hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to mine enemies and reward them that hate me. I will make mine arrows drunk with blood, right? He's going to have those nuclear missiles, just like that hail devoured that flesh. You're going to have nuclear missiles coming on America, right? Just the same way, 200 million nukes, right? Just out of nowhere, like a thief in the night. It says, I will make mine arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, and that with the blood of the slain and of the captives, from the beginning of revengeance upon the enemy, from the beginning of revengeance. Let's see. Oh, now it wants to work. Right. Avenge, revenge by the leadership, right? Leadership, plural. Avenging or revenge, right? From the beginning of revengeance upon the enemy, from all these elite, right? The kings of all these nations, they're going to be our slaves. Rejoice, O ye nations, with his people, and he will avenge the blood of his servants, and will render vengeance to his adversaries, and will be merciful unto his land and to his people. So they're about to see tables turn. They're gonna be showing nothing but hate and disrespect, while the Israelite, with the righteous Israelite, starting with the head apostles and Great Millstone, which rule Great Millstone, right? Because the head apostles, they rule Great Millstone. Wow, the brothers that fall in the suit of Yahweh Shai, which he's doing the will of his father Yahweh. All right, they're gonna be all right. As it says, we're going to eat the fruit of our doings. All right? But to them that are wicked and them that are doing wickedly, this is what they got. It says, once again, in Ecclesiasticus 39, verse 28, this is what you got to look forward to. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. They're going to break these people down in the time of destruction. They pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Who made them? Yahweh and his son Yahushai. Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts, and that's coming, you're starting to see that. The sharks and the animals of the sea attacking the people, right? The animals attacking their owners, these Edomites, these dog-loving Edomites, they're getting attacked. Their children are getting ate by their own pets, right? Well, there's actually animals that you've never even seen that live in the forests, right? And live underground, live in the ocean, and they're about to show themselves for judgment, like the Leviathan, all right? It says, or the behemoth, the dinosaur. The dinosaur is still alive, and he's going to be revealed in these last days, part of this vengeance, It says, teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, which is the so-called white man. He's a weapon of mass destruction, right? And the sword punishing the wicked to destruction, which with the sword, the so-called white man, he used that so-called white man to do what? Create a nuclear missile, right? A great sword, which is going to fall upon their own head. It says, they shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is. Which they're just sitting there, those nuclear missiles, just like all these beasts that are hidden in the woods, right? Just waiting for the order, just waiting, begging the Lord, wanting to go into action. Right? It said that storm came on them so fast, it was swift to do what the Lord wanted. It says, they shall not transgress his word, which there's no buying your way out of it. There's nothing. There's no remedy. There's nowhere to run, They have a movie called what is that movie called? And they're pretty much running from death, and death is a spirit that chases them. Um, it's right in the back of my head. I can't remember it. This movie. There's the original one, Final Destination, and what it was death. Once you were marked for death, you couldn't do nothing about it. There, everywhere you went, you were pretty much the target, and that's what's happening to Esau now. That was on Jake, and it still is. The 2/3, but on the elect, it's no longer. It's being lifted off, and it's now being put on our enemies, the so-called white men. Right? That stigmata of that stigma, I should say, not stigmata, but stigma of their shame, right? The shame that they are the Edomite. It says that shame shall cover them, and that's what stigma means. It says, verse 9, Obadiah 9, and thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau, so every one of the nation of the so-called white race, may be cut off by slaughter. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. So there's no mercy on these Edomites. There's no mercy coming for them. They're going to suffer a very shameful death. All right? But all nations are going to actually be punished at the same time, but Esau's going to get it the worst. It says in verse 15, Obadiah verse 15, for the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. Right? So hail. So in Exodus 9 verse 25, and the hail smote throughout all the land of Egypt, all that was in the field, both man and beast, and the hail smote every herb of the field and brake every tree of the field. So this was a plague that was upon ancient Egypt. And as the Lord has said, he's going to actually bring plagues from the ancient time that he put upon there to this modern time. Right? He's going to plague this place like he done to ancient Egypt. He says in 2nd Esdras 15 verse 5, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, which is that so-called white man, the red devil, famine, death, and destruction. Now I'm going to jump down. Verse 10, behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter, the Israelites, right? Because it says what? The so-called white man, which rules the world, the sword, is going to bring famine. He controls the resources, which is going to lead to death and destruction, because he's going to tell you got to have an implantable microchip put inside your body for buying and selling, which is an abomination and is the sentence of death if you're an Israelite. So, once again, verse 10, behold, my people, the Israelite, is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, which is America, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai shall bring upon it, right? Which this hail is actually a omen of the nuclear missiles. Okay, there's a great hail that's going to come, and it's those nuclear missiles. Revelation 11 and 19, It says, and the temple of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament, and there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail. So when Yahushai returns, nuclear destruction is going to happen to America. It says, and there's Revelation 16 verse 21, and there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent, and men blasphemed Yahweh and his son Yahushai because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceeding great. Which eventually the whole world is going to suffer from the plague of the nuclear missiles. All right? This is the great judgment of this whore, America, which is Babylon the Great, who are to be destroyed. All right? And he's going to deliver the saints, the hopeful elect, and them that are joined with them through the Spirit. You know, they're going to be gathered together and delivered by the angels. It tells you that in, let me see, I'll use the other app. Matthew 24, verse 29, and it's read because Yahushua is prophesying. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, when they make that implantable microchip mandatory, shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, which is that great hail, the nuclear destruction. Those are nuclear missiles. You know, it's once referenced as great hail. Now it's being referenced as stars falling from heaven. And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. And they shall see the Son of Yahweh, the Son of Man, Yahushai, coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So he's going to gather us and protect us in what you call a so-called UFO. All right, when he returns, he's going to cause us to be what you call abducted by the angels into his so-called UFO, into the chariots of heaven, to be delivered like Noah was delivered in the ark from the flood. All praises and glory to Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai Ba'asham Ha-Rakakudash. Double honors to our apostle elders, which rule Great Millstone Well, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure. Abba Babon.